Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the SA Cricket Podcast, the South African Cricket Podcast. My name is Mpho and I've got Tim Dalese with me. I nearly took us down memory lane, Tim, but I didn't. But anyway, what matters is for everyone, it's Tim's Victory Monday. I've had a lot of these over the past couple of years, but sadly, Western Province has never given Tim a Victory Monday, and finally they did so this weekend. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Proteas women and the Proteas men and how we feel about the double header and the fact that New Zealand gave us a pitch that doesn't want to work, but anyway, that's fine. And then we're also going to talk about the One Day Cup fixtures. The Lions are looking really good. Warriors are looking even better. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. But before we do anything, please follow us, SA Cricket Pod, on X. Subscribe to the South African Cricket Podcast YouTube channel. Also subscribe to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, our audios one. And then also buy some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. That's going to come up at the below. You're going to have QR codes. That's going to be a link to there. That helps us grow the pod. We love cricket, but we're not doing this pod for love for cricket alone. We also would like some money to make some money out of this and to be able to provide you with more content and also in different places and go and actually be more on the ground like we were last year for the World Test Championship. And the like. So that's what we're trying to get to, and your support is really, really helpful in doing that. And one of the places where your money and possibly sponsorship could go a long way, and we will send an email to Hollywoodbets because maybe purple works for us instead of green, is the Hollywoodbets Pro 20. Tim, how are you doing? Pro 20 double champion. You three-peated in the T20s, and you finally won the One Day Cup. How are you doing? And should we not send a letter to Hollywoodbets to say, hey guys, Tim represents the champions. How about a young sponsorship? Hollywoodbets SA Cricket Podcast. Make sense to you?
It does. It does indeed. It has a nice ring to it. But no, I'm obviously delighted. It's not something that we've touched on an awful lot on. While we've had people like Tanesha on here on a regular basis to give us a lowdown on the women's game in general, we haven't really delved into the Hollywoodbets Pro competition on an in-depth basis. But I think what we have said, and I've certainly said on a regular basis, is that while there are lots of issues within the Bristol Province men's setup, on and off the field, the women basically since just before the Hollywoodbets came in, they've been steadily progressing, going up the numbers, and beating the opposition, and being a real force within the women's game across the competitions. Yes, the focus, as you say, has been the Pro 20. That's been where they have dominated. But they've also been very competitive in the Pro 50. And they showed that in this season just how dominant they have been. I was having a look at the stats earlier today, and I was quite surprised in that it shows a real team effort, both from the team in terms of both divisions, in that the province players were not dominant in terms of leading run scorers or wicket takers. Yes, obviously we had people like Faye Tunnicliffe is near the top in terms of the batting. We often talk about her, but in a general consensus, it's been a team effort. It's had a lot of players pulling together to bring us to that success. So, obviously, yes, hugely proud. Not that surprised, because I know that, as we've spoken about, that there's a lot of talent there that they are coming through. Leah Jones is now a Protea. That's rightly so, in my opinion. So it's been good. It's been great to see the progression over the last 2 or 3 years. And now that they are champions of both competitions, long may it continue.
Yeah, no, long may it continue, but not for you, for Western, the line for women's cricket, in total, but well done to Western Province. I was mad on Friday. I was mad on Sunday. But on Saturday I was having a discussion with friend of the show, Lisejo, around the pitch, and she was like, "Why would they give us such a pitch?" And I have a lot to talk about it. I'm going to try and condense it. Hollywoodbets, well done. We got a sponsorship in domestic cricket. It's working. It's funding the game. More of our ladies are professional. I love it. I've got no issues with Hollywood. I've got one issue with Hollywoodbets. I know that you're based in Durban, but was there a need to have the final in KZN away from any set of the home fans? It would have been a great opportunity to get one set of the home fans an opportunity to watch their team play in their home conditions. We started this tournament not thinking that the final was going to be at the home of the team that finished first on the log. And funny enough, in the previous years, it was the Dolphins and everything was in Durban. This year, it wasn't the Dolphins and it was the Lions. And it would have been lovely to have, we may not have had cricket. That's for sure on Sunday. But Friday, we would have had a game. But either way, right, it would have been great to have schoolgirls playing, maybe even have it at Stain City School and just have a smaller community, have it packed, make it great, make it look, because on TV, it looked a little empty. And it was great that it was on SuperSport. I love that. It was awesome. That's the only thing I'd have an issue with. Everything else was insane. The only thing I disagree with you, Tim, is it wasn't a team effort. You have bullies at the top of your order in Faye Tunnicliffe and Lara Goodall, who should be playing for the Proteas, but they can't get in because Proteas women are this good. And they went on a spree this entire year, just bullying bowling attacks, right? At the top of the order, Lara became very aggressive. Faye was just doing her things. And for me, they're the reason why you're here. The final had everyone else come through. But from a province perspective, really Faye and Lara just were on a level amongst themselves. The Lions, with the money they have and the resources they have, were able to match that. Surprisingly, this season, the Titans couldn't do much, nor could the Dolphins. They had a very off season, but with the amount of emerging cricket that was happening, the amount of Proteas women cricket that was happening, and the amount of training camps and everything else, the only two teams that were largely not so affected were Province and the Lions, and they had enough depth in order to get through. But when it mattered, they beat the teams that mattered. There was a game where, for the 50 over, where the Titans could have made the final. They bowled the Lions out for 90, and they got bowled out for 78 on a very bad pitch in Thomsonville in Soweto. It was a Valentine's Day massacre, essentially. It was on Valentine's Day. It was wild. And it's things like that we need to see as a public, and we need to watch, right? But it was tighter than it was exclaimed, but we had two teams. I think in the Pro 20 was fait accompli very early. It was the two best teams, and there was the teams that had the power hitters, right? And they made it through, and that was it. From a finals perspective, just to go through the final, for the women in the Pro 20, the pitch was problematic. We had a large part of rain here on the Highveld end in Durban, and the pitch, when it was revealed, became a situation, and whoever won the toss needed to put the other team in first, and the Lions really struggled. At 75 for 8, that was what they got for 20 overs. Jenna Evans scoring 22 as the only person there. But from a bowling perspective, 3 wickets for Tatum LaRue. She used to play for the Titans. Caitlin Vainhart got 2 for 15. And Delmi Tucker got 1 for 10, and she's a former Protea, right? In reply, there was a point where the Lions thought they were in, 6 wickets down. But then Jay Lee Freelander just watched as Leah Jones decided to take it on herself as the captain. Laura Goodall scored 20 in that game. Oluhle CEO, former S under 19 captain, she scored 24 of 38, and then Leah Jones 14 of 19. It wasn't a pitch that was conducive to what a final should have been, but either way, Raisibe Ntozake took 4 for 9. It was more of a spinner's pitch. And then in the last over, they gave Madison Landsman the ball, and she decided to bowl full tosses and no balls and everything. And I sat there going, you've got other spinners, right? And to a certain extent, they had bowled out all these spinners, but the number one wicket taker in the tournament, Relebogile Mkhize, only bowled 2 overs. I'd have given her a run before I gave Madison Landsman, and I get Madison Landsman bowled well early in the game for 1 over, and it was a gamble when you actually needed wickets, and you didn't throw your best bowler at the problem, regardless of whatever the conditions were. And I just was like, it's fine. Clearly, we're also on a captaincy deficit that night, but it was really sad. Well done, Tim, for the Pro 20. And then Saturday, chatting to Lesego, I was like, look, I don't think this pitch is going to improve. But there was a game that happened, a one-day cup game that happened in Durban. But then I told us, like, look, I don't see this game being a high-scoring game either way, because the conditions were the conditions. I think that one-day cup game, if I can get that for you, Tim, if you know what that one-day cup game, what the scores were in that one-day cup game, because it was a day-nighter.
I don't.
I have
enough. Have you got it?
No, it's fine. What is it? Where did I go? I went to 4-day series. Oh my word! Sorry. Where's one day cup? Okay, this is weird. Just losing out on the one day cup results. They're here. Come. Lions Titans. Lions Women, Western Province Women. So just give me a moment. We're trying to find, because that game was also something, right? It was the Dolphins taking on the Northwest Dragons. The Dragons actually scored 272 for 8 on that wicket, but they bowled out the Dolphins for 138. So it was a decently scored game, but it wasn't what you would call high scoring. So just improve the conditions for the ladies. That's my point. And if you do that, you give yourself the best effort, because the Lions women got bowled out for 99. Diara Ramlakan scoring 41 in that Pro 50 final on Sunday. No one else getting anywhere close. And this is a team that has Sinet Viljoen, Shibnam Ishmael, Faye Cowling. Caitlin Vainhart got 3 for 25 with some expert bowling. Dami Tucker as well, 3 for 18. Dami Tucker's been like an unsung hero in this team. She's lost a spot of the Proteas, looking to get back, and like all her other teammates, looking to find their way back into this team. But she's just always been the glue that keeps this team together as an all-round force. Nosipo Vezi also took 1 for 10. And then in very nice fashion, Faye Tunnicliffe scoring 38 to get to the 100. Dalmi Tucker got 20 runs. Megan Fourie got 20 runs. There was a bit of a blip up front. There were 2 for 18 and 2 for 44 when Megan Fourie was retired hurt. But that was it. Shibnam Ishmael taking 2 for 34 for the Lions in her 8 overs. But it was very quick and painless, and the Lions women lost 2 finals over the weekend. Very uncharacteristic for the Lions franchise, but well done, Tim. And well done to all the ladies who competed in the Pro 50 and Pro 20. We saw the return of Mignon Dupré, or her, playing for another side that isn't Free State. And she did really well for them at Northwest Province at the Dragons. And yeah, we uncovered a lot of good talent, and I think it needs to continue, Tim.
Yeah, indeed. Just to touch on what you say, I like the fact that the finals of some of the competitions, certainly the T20 competition in the men's, is played at a neutral venue in the UK. The difference is people will travel there. They will travel there. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So I agree with you. Whoever finishes top number 1 should host the final. and that should be the final. It's not gonna work if it's Province against the Dolphins and it's in the Wanderers. So that's just not gonna work. It needs to be at whoever finishes top. That's just how it should work.
And congratulations to Faye on winning player of the tournament for the for the Pro 20. It was a very disciplined performance from Northwest, but they've been very strong throughout the season, and it's been a very, very good performance from Province. You must be happy, Tim. One good thing happening at Western Province, because everything else on that side is not doing that well. Speaking of another thing, the Proteas. Women didn't do that well in their first of 5 T20s. They're playing with the men, so we're going to talk about this together. Proteas women played at Mount Manganui. There's images and videos on Twitter and social media of them being welcomed into Mount Manganui, but it wasn't to be great. New Zealand batted first. They put on 190. Amelia Kerr, 78 of 44. Georgia Plimmer, 63 of 44. From a wicketing perspective, the Proteas women really struggled. Masabata Klaas took 2 for 15. Nadine de Klerk took 2 for 32. Lefty took 1 for 29. Ayabonga Kaka took 1 for 37. Kayla Renica played. Her solitary over win for 19. We bowled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different bowlers in a T20. That kind of tells you the type of captaincy that Laura Wolfert was going through. And in reply, it didn't work out. Tasman Brits and Sunay Lees only put an opening stand of 17, but then they lost 2 wickets at 17 in the same over. Tasman scored 29 of 35. Kayla Renica scored 24 of 18. Nadine de Klerk 19 of 19. Laura Wolfert got a duck. Sunay got 10. I don't think it's a batting issue. We lost by 70 runs, 80 runs, but I don't think it's a batting issue. I think our bowling just leaked too many runs. Tim, it was early in the morning on Sunday, but what did you make of that performance?
Yeah, look, I tend to agree. Look, let's hope it's just cobwebs, and they've cleared the cobwebs, and they get accustomed to how things are on those New Zealand pitches. It definitely was. Look, it definitely was a bowler's issue. Look, we've got to look at the first ball. If you look at Winfers, that was the moment we were favourites to win the game. That was the last moment. The minute we got rid of the first ball, then it was just smashing us all over the park. 61 for 1 after 6, 100 for 1 after 10. At no point did they slow down, New Zealand. They just went after us, attacked us for the minute ball 1, and we didn't really cope with the pressure very well. Vincent Barnes to put a tweet out after the game basically said what we've been saying for a long, long time. I think about at least 2 years now. This team needs pace. This team is desperately. If it doesn't have the guile of Mawassan, it struggles with the ball. It really, really struggles. Even in pitches and in countries where you wouldn't necessarily expect to need pace, we need pace. There's no doubt about it. In our chase, liquor was just too much. We didn't really have a plan, so that did frustrate me a little bit. We didn't have, okay, let's get somewhere where we can regroup after 6 overs. After 6 overs, we could regroup and we could see what we need to get. If it's 10 and over, 11 over, there was none of that. There was none of that. It was let's take the risk, and it came off quickly, really quickly. It came off the wheels very, very quickly. But you're right. Essentially, where we lost it was with the ball, a lack of direction, lack of consistency, and an alarming lack of pace.
And then, so what would you like to see in the next game, right? Obviously, we lost this game heavily. Do you run the same team? We're playing in Hamilton, so it's going to be slightly better batting wicket. But yeah, we still have the same issues we have with the ball. What changes do you make, or do you keep the same 11 and try and run it again?
Look, this is a sizable series. It's only one format, but there's quite a lot of games. So I'm going to go with the same 11. Trust that they will put in a much better performance, and they'll know the licks and lines that they need to bowl in New Zealand. I think this is just an issue of cobwebs, as I say. I don't see it as a deep-seated problem within the side. It's going to get better, and I trust that Mandela will not read the right act, but that cannot happen again. What we saw with the ball cannot happen in game 2. That's fairly obvious, and I don't think we will see it. So I think Reeds go with the same team and just be better, be a lot better.
And then later in the day, on the same pitch, the double header happened. The men came out to play, but that was less entertaining than the women's game, with South Africa bowling out New Zealand in the revenge game that only had one player from South Africa who played in the semi-final. That was the captain, Keshav Maharaj. And they went and rolled New Zealand. Tim, we have these moments in South African cricket where we will note that the fast bowling stocks are back up. It's like, the rising oil price right now, because we've got this conflict around the world. We might be going into World War III, but there's one thing we as South Africans cannot worry about. And that is our fast bowlers are back, baby. Oh, yes, they're back. Oh, it's so good. Oh, we went with the B team and we took them apart. Oh, I'm loving this. Oh, Tim, I'm loving this. Mokoena, 3 for 26. Gerald Katsir is back, guys. Gerald Katsir, 2 for 14. Botman, 2 for 22. Maharaj, 2 for 25. Dion Forrest as an all-rounder. He just bowled 1 over, 0 for 4. Very good. But how good was it to watch Mokoena wearing number 21, one less than Lungingiti? So I was like, okay, maybe you are. We've got a pipeline. We've got a plan. But yeah, I was really happy. Like for all the word with everything that was said about Otniel Bartman and what he's done in the subcontinent. I'm glad that he had an opportunity to show us again how good he was. And then we've unearthed another one to add to our fast bowling stocks. When an injury happens, we don't have to. Who's next? Like we did last year. We really thank Dane Patterson for his services. We thank Duan Olivier for his services. We also would like to thank who else played for us that was a fringe. We'd like to thank all the guys who went to New Zealand last time. But now, we're back, boys. We're back. And Tim, what did you make of that?
Look, I enjoyed it. I don't think it was just because we beat New Zealand after the heartbreak of the World Cup. But I enjoy what it showed to me was you can have a bowler-friendly pitch in this format and it can still be an absorbing game. Okay, it wasn't exciting as such, but hell, it was absorbing. For me, at least. I love the bowling, as you say. The bowlers that's the top of the tree, and that really, really impressed me. But I also enjoyed the challenge with the batters. The batters really had a challenge getting that total. I think if New Zealand got to 130, I think we would have had an absolute absorbing, enthralling finish to the game. But I thought Mokoena and Esterhuizen handled himself exceptionally well. And a pitch that was very difficult to score off. Very, very difficult. Two-paced. You could not go in there and just clear the boundary. It was not that kind of pitch. If you did do that, which New Zealand tried to do, you came a copper. You got yourself out. That's what happened. We realized very early on that couldn't happen. And I thought he managed the situation, playing his debut for the Proteas, exceptionally well. There's a player in there, a hell of a player. And I just thought we managed the game exceptionally well on a pitch that's difficult to score off. There weren't a lot of boundaries for us. I don't even know how many boundaries we scored, but there weren't very many.
I will give you that stat right now.
I enjoyed it.
7 4s and 2 6s. Oh, that was New Zealand. We scored.
I was going to say
4 4s and 3 6s.
Yeah, definitely less.
Running. The boys were running. It was a fitness test yesterday, and good to see that they came through. But because of the fitness test, one man is pulled up. Jordan Hanman is pulled up with an injury that he picked up in the field, so he's not going to play. That gives us a little bit of an issue at the top of the order. I think Jordan was supposed to open the batting with Tony, but they promoted Connor. Tim, in light of what Connor did at the top of the order, are you just going to add someone in that lower middle order? I think that's Vian Mulder, essentially the next man up. Or are you going Andile Simelane? Probably going Vian.
No, Vian. Yeah. We need the next batter.
I'd actually open the batting with Vian, actually. I'd actually open the batting with him.
Vian's got to play.
I know he's a middle order guy, but I'd open the batting with him. I think Andile is a different profile to batter that you need. And I think, you kind of have to do some sort of a like-for-like swap with Dean Forrest and Andile. But it's the young Proteas. I don't really care about this series apart from just seeing the youngsters, give it their all. The old adage of they tell you to go and play your game, go and play the way you play. That's what this series is about. No, there'll be minimum tactics. It's just trying to see if guys can get absorbed into the Proteas setup and the like. And I think we had 4 debutants yesterday in the game for ourselves. It was Connor, it was Dion, Ngobani Mokoena, and Jordan Hammond. So really congratulations to them. Any changes for the next T20? I think I'd shake it up a little bit. I think just looking at the squads that we have, just giving a view. I think Vian obviously comes in for Jordan, and that's going to be our batting for the entire series, essentially, the 6 that you saw. So yeah, just unfortunate for Jordan Hammond. I do think Prenelin's going to play at some point in time. I'd like to see him play next time. I'd like to see us play with an off spinner. This thing of 2 left arm spinners is a problem. So I'm okay with resting Keshav. I just don't know who you're gonna call as captain. Vian. So Vian captains the side, Kesh goes off, and then has a bit of a rest in New Zealand. It's not the worst place to go on holiday, Kesh. I really don't want to see Keshav again, actually. Like, what are we doing here? But I understand we need a senior player.
You need a senior player within those youngsters. You need somebody to mold them.
He'll be there on game days. Just let the man go waterfall hunting and go figure out Lord of the Rings. Like, what are we doing, Tim? Like, I want Kesh to get rest, but he will rest. Because I think rest. Once the IPL starts, because if he was in South Africa, he'd be playing One Day Cup. Right, we saw the Lions doing that this week. So yeah, Ethan Bosch should get a run as well, and Luto. So the stocks are up, but Ethan's out. Sorry, Ethan's withdrawn. So Luto's the only one of the fast bowlers who hasn't played. So Prenelin also hasn't played. Vian hasn't played, and Andile hasn't played. So I do think you'll see a little bit in there coming through, but I've got no issues. Even if we lose heavily in the next game, I'm okay. It's about seeing what the youngsters can show, and also seeing what Tony and Jason actually have more to lose here, just to see what Shook saw in them initially. So I think they're the ones who are like slightly under pressure. So is Bartman, right? Bartman needs to kind of prove to everyone what Dale Stein's been fighting for, shouting off the rooftops of every house in South Africa. you're bombarding us on social media. Yeah, Bartman has to. I look. He's a professional and the like. But again, it's a T20 series after a World Cup, like after a T20 World Cup. Like
exactly. Next week, nobody's gonna remember.
Both teams don't want to be there.
Yeah, but I as I say, I'm looking forward to the rest of it because I want to see. For me, I want to see Connor progress now. So hopefully the pitches will get better and Connor can play his more expansive game where he can clear the boundary on a more regular basis. Because for me, it's one innings. Yes, it's one innings. It's not New Zealand's best 11. Yes, 100%. But that showed to me a real maturity about his game. There were other players that went big early on, tried to play big shots, and got themselves out. And he said, "No, I'm gonna be the rock on the side on a difficult total," and that impresses me a lot. That impresses me big time.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool. No, but yeah, good. Let's see. They have another game tomorrow. In Hamilton, so it's like a New Zealand tour. Like all the newbies are like, I've never been to New Zealand before, so it's like it's really really nice to like give guys and like domestic cricket's better for this. Trust me, this is like sending a domestic 11, like a CSA T20 11 to there. The only person missing is Matthew de Villiers, but look, Jordan's out. Flight prices are ridiculous right now, so there's no one coming to save us unless we're in a crisis. I think if we get into another trouble, we're going to try looking through New Zealand cricket to find if there's a South African player who has no hope of playing for New Zealand and just wants to play one game for the Proteas. Thank you, Donald Trump. That's the only thing I'll say about that war. Okay. Yeah, let's move on to our domestic roundup. It's been an interesting week for domestic cricket. We've got some One Day Cup results. We saw Themba Bavuma, commentator, philanthropist, foundation founder, captain of the World Test Championship side, the only team that holds a men's trophy that isn't Indian. Yeah, he rolled out the red carpet, played his first game in a while after playing a lot of cricket. And yes, they played the Titans. I just want to check which one. Oh, so it's Division 2, Division 1. Let's go to Division 2. Division 2 had some stakes this week, and we all love stakes. Not the ones they serve at Spur, but the stakes that are essentially telling us who's going to make the final of the CSA division. Of the CSA Division 2 One Day Cup, right? So that was where we were. I'm just getting my bearings right here so we can talk about it, right? It was the final week. We're going into the final week of the season, and now we have two teams that are in a qualifier, and then we've got one team that's already in the final. The Division 2 started early, so that's the reason why we are here. But again, let's go through the results. There was a massive game between Mpumalanga and the Knights to start off that was on Saturday. Mpumalanga put up 301 for 7 against the very strong Knights of Bloemfontein. 76 for Yassar Cook, Benjamin van Niekerk, 80 of 81. Herman Rolf scored a 20. You had Aubrey Swanepoel, 41 of 23. Just putting revenge on his former team. Gareth Dukes, 35 of 13. They batted very deep, did Mpumalanga. 3 wickets for Simtembile Langa. Joe van Dijk, 2 for 57. That's another fast bowler that you can look out for. Tian van Vieren got 1 for 51 and Bongiseni Mhlanga 1 for 40. In reply, the Knights were bowled out for 125. Notable there is Seth Fledermaus with 31, but Gareth Dukes 3 for 19, 2 for 16 for Herman Rolfson, 3 for 31 for Tetelo Mapaka, Gwenna's brother. And what do they call themselves? They're the Rhinos. What do they call it? Is it the Stampede, the Rampage? One of those
Why
names,
not?
Tim.
Why
No,
not?
there's I know they're Rhinos, but they have a name for themselves, a collective name for themselves. What's the collective name for Rhinos? I don't know at this point in time. But a small province beating the largest province in Division 2, that is huge, Tim. Massive, massive news.
Indeed, they've been very consistent, Mpumalanga, all the way through the season. And this, I'm not going to lie, this caught me unawares, this result. Certainly was not expecting it. I thought it could be reasonably competitive, but the Knights have been blowing everybody away all the way in this competition. So it certainly was a surprise, not only that Mpumalanga won, but won by such a enormous margin. Maybe the Knights just kind of knew, look, we're in the final. We don't have to give it everything. But as I say, I don't want to shine over Mpumalanga. They have been very consistent throughout the season, and they deserve to be in the qualifier. No doubt about it. Really, really good performance. And look, they could be at the final. I'll just touch on this very, very briefly.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a new champion. Whoever wins the One Day Cup this season, it's going to be somebody who has not won it since the domestic restructuring in 2021-22 season. So it'll be a brand new champion. That just shows you the competitive nature of Division 2.
Yes. Yes, that's cool. And this is where we are on the other ones, because I think it's been great. It's been very competitive. The next game was SA Merging, losing to Easterns. They haven't had a great time, and this is last year's SA 19 side. They scored 228 there in Benoni. Jorg van Skalkwijk, 41 of 70. Letabo Palamotlaka, 35 of 49. Paul James, 33 of 49. There were 24 extras, my word. Easton's 2 for 48. Andrew Rasemene, Jesse Albany 2 for 33. Dumelo Simelani 3 for 43, and Yuri Sneyman 2 for 40. And then in closing, the Easton's chasing got to 229 with 7 wickets in hand. 56 for Braden Hicks. Chris Brits 90 off 84. Kabelo Sukukune 20 of 25, and Devon Murray 51 of 52. So really, really easy win there for Easterns. And then you had the Badgers, who had a chance at making it in, but results earlier before this game really kind of kicked them out of the qualifier game that's been played on Wednesday. The Garden Route Badgers beat the Limpopo by 33 runs, another tight game. The Badgers scored 299. Carl Jacobs 131 of 141. Yassine Vali 68 off 62. George Van Heerden, the captain, 57 off 64. He's probably going to be playing in Division 1 next year. If not, I'm going to strike. Emmanuel Mutswiri of the Limpopo Impalas took 5 for 77. He's had a great one-day cup with Ludwig Kestner as well, 1 for 44. And then chasing 300, 6 runs and over, Ludwig Kestner got 44 of 57. Christopher Kleinlands, 49 of 34. Emmanuel Mutsuri, 59 of 70. You got Mpho Mudimukwane, 25 of 30, and Dod Khadebe, 21 of 13. However, that wasn't enough. They only managed to get to 266 because Jade Richter took 4 for 34. Banele Tlele, 3 for 62. Tyrese Carlson, 1 for 28. And Carl Jacobs, 1 for 28. And there was one more game. It was the Inyati taking on the Northern Cape Heat in Kimberley. The Inyati beat the Heat to get them confirm their spot in the qualifier and to host the qualifier in East London, or Kugombo City, as it's now called. They scored 250 for 9, and they bowled out the Heat for 203. 43 for Lihle Sizani, Tando Ntini, 45 of 56. Really good contributions from them. Vian Rutfin, 39 of 42. Jason Niemand, 30 of 57. And then in bowling, the Heat, Charles Prinsloo 3 for 64 and Monet Fenter 2 for 39. And yeah, Northern Cape in response. Good ball out for 203, 334, around the ball 34 from Miranda to Blanche, James Ritchie 33 of 37, and Charles Prinsloo lower down the order 43 of 38. Nothing more then, and that was the end of a disappointing season for the Heat. They got bowled out. Khadisi Malefe took 5 for 40, and Lindile Mkletchwa 2 for 25, along with Niku van Zyl with 2 for 32, Chat Lawson 1 for 27. Massive win for the Inyati, Tim, and they host a final, a qualifier, not a final, with Mpumalanga Rhinos, right? So the Knights finished on 24 points. The Inyati finished on 22. Mpumalanga finished on 22. The Badgers finished on 18. Easterns finished on 18. And SA Emerging finished on, Limpopo finished on 14 points, SA Emerging on 7, and Northern Cape Heat, bottom of the pile on 2 points. Niku van Zyl of the Inyati took 17 wickets, Emmanuel Mutsuri 16 wickets, and Sitembile Langa 16 wickets of the Knights. And then from a runs perspective, Ludwig Kastner finishes the regular season with 420 runs, is the highest run scorer at an average of 105. Yasar Cook 366 runs at an average of 52, and Ruanta Blanche 300 of the Badgers 353 with an average of 70. So we've got 2 more games, Tim. It's Mpumalanga Rhinos as alongside the Inyati. Yes. Yeah. In East London, Kugwampo City at Buffalo Park. And then the final is whomever wins, the Knights are waiting for on Sunday in Bloemfontein. So we're hoping that there is not rain, and I'm assuming there will be a reserve game from there. So that is Division 2. Now let's go to Division 1. The Warriors kept on winning. They scored 400 runs. Oh my word, I saw this and I was like, what is happening? And so the Warriors scored 400 runs against Boland, who scored 313 runs themselves. And it was a run fest. These are the things we want, Tim. Give the people what they want. And the people certainly got what they wanted. 700 runs in the game. Mudiri Ditako is 117. Mohammed Manak, 57. Matthew De Villiers, 133. And they got 400 in 50 overs. That's 8 runs and over. Keith Dudgeon took 3 wickets. Akonya Miaka took 1 wicket for 77. Keith Dudgeon took 3 for 87. And Frisco Adams, another 1 for 77. Boland chasing 401, got into 313, which I think is a fair effort. Chasing 400. Blade Capel with 94 at the top of the order. Gavin Kaplan with 88 of 83. But after that, there wasn't much to talk about as the Warriors bowled them out. Cohen Mungru 3 for 58. Senran Mutasami 2 for 73. Gene Upman 1 for 41. Thomas Cable 1 for 52. And Gideon Peters, remember him from SA20? He took 3 for 61. So massive win there for the Warriors. I think it's a bonus point win as well, Tim.
Yeah, look, it was magnificent. It was so impressive the way they went about it, the Warriors. They had a good start. That's a maiden list 100 for Titeko. Really, really good innings from him. Solid, really good to see him coming through now from the Division 2 setup. As we want to see. I'm going to continue to sound like a strike record, but that is what it is. Matthew De Villiers is the find of the season. Across all formats, this is second list 100 in the competition, leading run scorer, complete dominance with his innings. The way he dispatched the bowling attack in their own backyard was quite something to witness. It really was. It was an it was an innings of the highest order, and it was really, really good. The Warriors, I know that because of what happened in the photo competition, I was a little bit critical in the way that they finished things up, but they're finding a way now to dominate teams and get over the line and show their worth. Champions of the T20 competition, they're now dominating this competition. They're now turning that talent which they've had the last couple of seasons into actual substance. That's a huge credit to Robbie P. They look the team to beat by some distance.
Yeah, they are very good. It's been a good season for them. I'm really, across all three formats. It's been very good, and I love that they're competing on all three fronts, which means there's method to Robbie P's madness, and you just needed to be patient and go make some tea before you did anything, before you pass judgment. Okay, next game was Northwest of the Dolphins, the game we spoke about earlier today in Kingsmead. Northwest batted first. They scored 272. Lisiba Ngwepe with an 88 of 68. Yanaman Malan 45 of 67. There's a lot of we threw Yanaman Malan into the bin and we never wanted to talk to him again. Ruanda Swat 48 of 44, but it's good to see that they're back. All Proteas except for Lisiba Ngwepe. 3 for 61 for Bayanda Majola. Tristan Lees took 2 for 43. Imran Tahir played, but he didn't take a wicket. No, for 79. The Italian John Smuts 1 for 34, and Zidane Mohammed Far 1 for 55. In response, the Dolphins got bowled out for 138, 26 runs for Tsapang Ditola, Ramashan Pillay 34 for 51, Khumule Mopiri 32 for 42, but it wasn't enough because Onke Nyaku took 4 for 32, and Caleb Seleka took 4 for 23. And Alfred Motwa 2 for 37. So Caleb Sileka, homegrown boy, doing the business for his team, probably learning from Imran Tahir and using those skills to beat the Dolphins. Then the next game, Western Province. Tim, close your eyes, close your ears. It's not looking good because the Tuskers beat the Province. And it wasn't pretty. Javesh and Pillay scored 100. Province scored 269. Very good to see Javesh and Pillay coming into the side and scoring runs. He's so talented. David Benningham 42. Valentine Kitime 30. I saw a post where they're like, no, Javesh and Pillay wasn't playing because Valentine Kitime took his spot, but clearly Valentine is playing and Javesh is playing too. Yeah. Anyway, yes, Tim?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, ignored. I saw that as well. That was rage baiting. That comment.
No, we're being rage baited, but we know where the rage bait comes from. But Manye Klengle 3 for 56, Malcolm Norfolk 2 for 65, and Sean Gilson 2 for 53. You would have been like decent bowling performance for the Tuskers, but yeah, you were like maybe not. But anyway, they came through. Could they get it? They did. And it was because of a former province boy, Wayne Parnell, scoring 89 of 78, supported by Michael Erlang with a 39 of 51, and Tando Zuma, who was the wicketkeeper, 51 of 42. And obviously you had Malcolm Norfolk with a 35 at the top with Jack Lees as well. They had a 57-run partnership to open the batting innings. Dane Patterson, hi Dane, 5 for 34. Bjorn Hendricks 1 for 62, Carl Simmons 1 for 52, but it was not enough to stop Wade Parnell to give the Tuskers a lifeline, Tim. They gave the Tuskers a lifeline. Tim, how do you feel? Because this could mean many things for you. We're looking at Tottenham Hotspur about to get relegated. Is it the same thing with Western Province that they also might be dropped? Because the Tuskers needed to win games and they're winning them.
So Province women winning the 2 trophies, and now it's being shoved in my face that my football team lost lost 3 points, and my men's team got beaten by the worst team of the competition. Yes, highly annoying. I don't actually know how this game was lost. I really don't.
No, you do.
It really
When
should
Parnell
not be
came back
happening.
and instituted revenge.
You know, I've been a big supporter of the Tuskers, but this is not. We had the down for 5 down for not much. 9 times out of 10, we get over the line from there. The way we let it slip, not good, not good at all.
Yeah, it's not good at all. And Western Province is sitting at the bottom of the log right now with the Tuskers sitting above the Dolphins. It is amazing, Tim. Amazing. But we've got one more game, and then we'll talk about what happened to your team. The Lions decided to, because the women weren't doing well in Durban, they were like, hey, are there any Proteas around who can help us? And they sent out the bat signal, and they brought the big dog back. They brought Temba Bavuma back, but yeah, it was a shortened game. And the Lions batted first. They scored, it was 32 overs each. They scored 165 for 2. Zubair Hamza scored 14 of 18. He scored a lovely century against the Warriors, actually, during the week. And now he got 14. Reza Hendricks scoring 82. Rassi van der Dissen 22 of 26. And Temba Bavuma 43 of 45, rolling back the years. And showing everyone why he's the national team captain. Dan Khalina only took 1 wicket for the Titans at 1 for 29. In response, the Titans doing what Titans do. They just fall apart, Tim, and they fell apart at the wrong time. Yeah, they got bowled out for 114. Neil Brunt with 21 of 18, Keegan Peterson 18, Rivaldo Munsami 19. Andile Petluguayo, when it's bad, when your team's playing badly, Andile will always do well, 31 of 20. Yeah, it was 3 wickets each for the Lions. Bjorn Fortuin took 3 for 33, Ngaba Yomzipita 3 for 35, and Reza Hendricks 3 for 11 for another spinning track at the Wanderers. The Wanderers are starting to look like it's a subcontinental pitch. But anyway, the Lions get 5 points and they walk off home. It says the Lions won by 120 runs. Oh, because the target was 235. My word, Douglas Lewis.
Target was massive. The target was huge.
Yes, wow. Okay, thank you, Duckworth Lewis. What a help. Geez, good to know that mathematics can really help the Lions. They get everything, right, Tim? They get the best players. They got Adrian Burrell this week as a specialist consultant. Now all of a sudden, they have all of these people. Now let's look at the upcoming fixtures. Then we're going to talk about some other things just after the upcoming fixtures. So from a log perspective, before we go to the upcoming fixtures, let's just give you a view and a sense. I don't think we've got the log ready for you in the One Day Cup, but sitting at the top of the log, it is the Warriors, who have 5 games, 4 wins at 19 points. The Lions, one of their games was rained out, but they have 3 wins on 18 points. Titans have 3 wins on 12 points. In third, Northwest in fourth with 12 points as well and 2 wins. The Gold Rush Boland on 8 points and 2 wins, and then the Tuskers on 6 points in 6th position with 1 win. The Dolphins with 1 win and 6 points, and Western Province sitting at the bottom with 1 win and 4. Looking at the promotion log before we go. Oh, that's the promotion log to Division 1. The Knights have already secured promotion, so congratulations to them. So they are officially in. We'll get you a relegation log because that's going to be more important next week because we're getting to the end of Division 1. So let's go to the upcoming fixtures because now we've got stakes. Big stakes. Proteas women are going to be playing and the men are going to be playing in Hamilton tomorrow on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, you've got Eastern Cape Inyati playing in Mpumalanga in the Division 2 qualifier. In Division 1 on the same day, the Tuskers take on the Lions in Pietermaritzburg. The Warriors take on the Titans in Gqeberha. If I'm the Tuskers, I want that game to be rained out. I need those 2 points. That's going to be very, very helpful to keep Western Province in that relegation zone. Anyway, on Thursday, Northwest play Western Province in Botch. Massive game for both teams. Western Province need to get themselves out of the bottom of that log with a win, but Northwest also want to get themselves into the qualifier and semifinals and play the playoffs of the One Day Cup. On Friday, the Proteas men and women play in Auckland. in a double header on Friday morning. And then on Sunday, you've got the One Day Cup final between the Knights and the winner of the Inyati and Mpumalanga game. So lots of cricket on the go and the like. Now, let's move over to just some other news coming our way. Congratulations to Grant Thomson on a stellar career. He retired this weekend with the last game for Easterns. A very stellar career. I think it was just over was it close to 16 years or whatever that was, but really great guy.
2009,
yes.
10 season, so 16
yeah,
years.
So 16 years, and yeah, it's just been a great guy in the franchise system and this provincial system. Really great stalwart in Division 2, and yeah.
I'm just gonna do his numbers because I think it's worthwhile after a long career. 6,150 runs at an average of 39.93 in 4-day cricket. 3,000 runs at an average of 40 in List A, and 1,454 runs at an average of 26.92 at a strike rate of 127. Whatever you look, those are impressive numbers. For that longitude of a career, impressive numbers from Grant. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah. So we had something happen last week. It was called the 100 auction. First time they've had an auction. They've always had a draft, but because they also have Indian money in there now. And so some teams are Indian franchises like MI London, Sunrisers Leeds, the Manchester Supergiants, who won't be having the same colors as the Durban Supergiants, who are similar to the colors of the Lucknow Supergiants. Just a lot's happening in world cricket right now. Next week, I think tomorrow we'll find out what happens to the New Zealand domestic T20. Do they have their own version of NZ20 with Indian owners, or do they join the Big Bash? That's also looking to get Indian owners or just other owners. So obviously India's ruling the world of cricket, and there's going to be like the Indian Premier League everywhere. The only thing is, let the Indian players come and play in our leagues, please. That's all we want. I just want a young Virat. I want a young Rohit to open for. Okay, he'd be opening for MI Cape Town. Jeez, I'm mad. But Rohit doesn't have a Bloemfontein challenge. Royal Challenges Bloemfontein. We can bring him into JSK. Look, I'm always trying to help JSK find new batters. That's my thing. Anyway, congratulations to the following players. Obviously, Hanno Klaasen, Marco Jansen got retained. Donovan Ferreira got retained by the Birmingham Phoenix. Lots of big numbers. But Deval Brevis, the London Spirit, £185,000. Ryan Rickleton got £150,000 to play for the Sunrisers Leeds. David Miller, £110,000 to play for the Southern Brave. That's just over 2 million rand if you convert it. Tristan Stubbs, £100,000. That should be flat on 2 million. I think Ryan Ricks gets 3 million and Deval about 3.5. And then the boys with 2 and 2.5 is 4 million. Marco and Heinrich have 5 million rand for 6 weeks of work. And then from the women's side, Marazan Cup moving to the London Spirit from MI London for £130,000. Nadine de Klerk, £170,000. Congratulations, Nadine. That's a massive, massive bag that you've acquired there. We had Laura Volfard on £75,000 for the Southern Brave, and Lizelle Lee, £27,500. Henri Dirksen also got bought in the auction. I think hers was just like around about £18,000. So congratulations to everybody who got into that mega 100 auction. And yeah, pounds are better than rands, so well done to all. And yeah, that brings us to the end of our show. Tim, what do you have to say for yourself now, Mr. Champion Tim, who had a victory Monday, but then the men decided to let you down?
Focus on the positive. I've got 2 trophies in the cabinet, and I must say, those trophies are better than anything in the men's competitions. Those trophies actually look good.
You heard it from Tim. We'll be back during the week with an interview. Hopefully we'll let you know. Please do check our socials. But remember, SA Cricket Podcast on X. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you to the growing group there. And then also you can buy some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. Outside of that, for myself and Tim, good luck to everybody trying to make their name in South African cricket. Good luck to the Proteas, men and women. Good luck to all the domestic teams playing in the One Day Cup. And also good luck to whoever is in New Zealand who's got South African descent playing in New Zealand's domestic competition. That could be an injury replacement should we have another injury. So I feel sorry for the guys here, but look, there's no way you're going to get to New Zealand unless, you could get on a flight to Perth and then you can make it to NZ. But it's going to be a very long flight for you to get there for a series that's probably ending next week. So outside of that, good luck to everyone and have a great week. Enjoy the week of cricket. The season is coming to a close. It's squeaky bum time, and we'll be covering it with you here on the SA Cricket Pod. So goodbye and have a good day. From myself and Tim, it's goodbye and lesale kakagiso.